Hello, welcome back to Homemade Movies Rewind. All right, after a little bit of a break, this is now the big Family Guy special. So if you want to hear a lot of the annoying behind-the-scenes drama that went into leading up to this episode, watch the end of the previous episode. But here we are. This is the big special. We're in a full soundstage now in Burbank, California, ready to shoot this thing with a gigantic cast. So I have a lot to say about it. Let's watch.
It seems today that all you
Okay,
see...
well, there we go. Let's just go ahead and pause right off the bat. That looks so awesome. It looks like a green screen, but obviously it's not. We would never. It's just really good lighting. That is Christina Lakin, who, if you were a 90s teenager like I was, you know that she was in Step by Step. Everybody had a crush on her. But you already know that from the behind the scenes, so let's see who else we got.
Is violence in movies and...
It's gonna go by fast. And there we go, Brock Baker. He was Bane in our Batman scene, but super talented impersonator. Let's see what else.
Good old-fashioned values on which we...
Bam, okay, there we go. Colleen Ballinger. She's been in a little bit of hot water recently. And Tilt Tyree, he's hilarious. All right, so as you know, Ben built all these backdrops with some help while I was out, and then I came in to just direct this. As always, this was just a big challenge of figuring out which things do we do full size, are there gonna be miniatures, and then this just keeps getting more and more elaborate. Here we go. Bam. Okay, a little bit of a cheat there. Well, it's not a cheat, but you know, we're not using visual effects, so it's just a quick dissolve. But the amazing thing is, what you see is what you get. This is, I mean, in real life, this felt huge. I mean, it's the risers going all the way back up there. You've got people going, I mean, way into the back. The poor girls wearing those tight shorts that we gave them. And then there's Ben, of course, operating Brian, the dog. But boy, this was a fun shoot.
Family Guy.
Signs come in. Okay, so the really funny thing too is like, those moves are very fast. That was the trickiest part, I think, for everybody, was like trying to actually move their legs that fast, like cartoony. So this is a good time to talk about why this is the only episode that I don't have an actual directing credit. It's kind of an odd thing. Because I wasn't there for the prep, which Ben did a great job of taking over, I've said it 100 times, he had everything ready to go, and then I showed up on the day to actually shoot it. Cinefix had hired a director who came from comedy series, was like a big comedy director. And I was like, well, I don't know if we really need that. Like, I'm gonna be here to direct it, but they just kind of insisted on having a director. But of course, once I got there, it was back in full force. I was doing my thing. It was a huge amount of talent and crew to work with, more than usual. So it was good to have extra help. I just, for the record, very much directed this episode. And then the guy who they hired as a director, it's no diss to him, but he really acted as sort of the first AD, which on a set would be the person who kind of actually wrangles everybody and kind of barks out the orders, which was really great because I could sit there behind the camera looking at the references, and then I could just kind of say, all right, we need the person in the back to do this and do that, and then he would go over there, all right, so-and-so, you got to do this, you got to do that. So there's less people barking orders. It was sort of like he could kind of shout out to the people and tell them what to do, but the direction very much came from me. So kind of was irked that I didn't get director credit on this. I mean, it doesn't really matter, but I don't know, it's just one of those things. I'm like, hello, yeah, I directed it.
Laugh and cry.
He's a family guy.
Okay, that shot right there, right before it is about to pull out to the logo, was one of those things that Ben had prepped as a miniature. I came through on a like kind of a, not a rehearsal day, but we did like a walkthrough of the space a couple days before this, or like a week before this, while they're still prepping everything, so I can meet everybody, all the new people that were now involved in this little show that started in my house. And they were planning on doing that with miniatures, and it was kind of like this awkward conversation because now I'm meeting with like a new producer and a new director, and they're like, oh yeah, well, we're going to do that miniature. I'm like, well, we could just use the jib, you know, we don't use it on Homemade Movies, but it'd be so much fun. We're going to have these guys in costume, so let's just use the jib. It's like a crane, you know, and just go up and get that shot. And they're like, oh, no, well, we can't do that because that's, you know, that's against the rules. Because it's like, you know, tried to kind of start explaining the rules of the show to me. This is Homemade Movies and can't use the jib. And I'm like, I mean, we can if we want to. Like, there's certain things that we definitely don't do. Visual effects, CGI, green screen. But there's nothing that says that we can't just put the camera to me, it's like getting more stuff physically in camera is more important. So there's a little bit of a back and forth there. And I'm not this kind of person to be like, don't you know who I am? But at some point it's like, this is my show. I make the rules. Like literally I made the rules. It's okay to use the jib. Oh, that's too fancy. I'm like, it's gonna be so much better than dissolving halfway through the shot. Because we did that on that Back to the Future scene at the end. It's like Doc Brown and then it dissolves to miniature. Because I just had no other choice, but it's always bugged me. It's just so clunky. The more we can get stuff in one shot, the better. So I had to make an executive decision there, I guess. And we went with this. Put it up on the jib. I did that huge fast move. It's probably in the behind the scenes, just like a huge move, and you have to like nail it. I operated the jib myself. But yeah, it's kind of like one of those weird things where like now suddenly the show is taking on its own life, and people are starting to tell you like what the rules are. I'm like, bro, this is like, it's my show. Come on. Anyways, about to go up to the logo. Bam. There we go.
Well, thanks for watching.
And that is the end. So all this babbling just to see that last shot. But anyways. Yeah, kind of a crazy situation this whole episode, but really fun to have all these guest stars. Oh, and then of course I did the music all by hand. Oh, we were done shooting this. We had one day in the studio, and then as they were tearing everything down, because we had only rented the space for one day, I went into kind of the dressing room that was in there and recorded the vocals of the main cast members for the song. So I had like a rough version, but I was still recording it all the way I normally do, a cappella. And so we set up sound blankets just to keep the reverberation down from the room, and just had each person come in, and I just directed them. Like, it was so crazy. Normally we would have done that on a separate day or whatever, but nope, there we were, like, 10 p.m. at night, 9 p.m. or something, like just recording in the dressing room so I could get the vocals, and they did an amazing job. So then I went off, finished the music, did all the editing. From that point on, it was just like any other normal episode. I edited the whole thing, put it all together, shot all the behind the scenes stuff at the house, and then that was that. So anyways, now there's gonna be a pretty big break in the calendar. 4 more weeks are gonna go by where I'm mostly prepping for my new animated show that's a fully animated show that was gonna come out. So I'll talk more about that in the next episode. Ben and I got together, just the two of us, to start the new season. It's gonna be Top Gun. We started production right after New Year's Day, and then just started this new season together, just him and I, kind of more pared down. But we had 2 weeks finally for the first time ever to do episodes. So every 2 weeks was a Homemade Movies episode, and in between, every 2 weeks was gonna be my new animated show. All right, so get ready for that. It's gonna be a bit of a hiatus, but the first Homemade Movies episode of the new year officially will come out on January 14th, and that was 2014. So I'll see you then.